Discount Podcast.
Welcome YouTube beggars to Discount, the bargain bin gaming podcast, hosted by three people so small you'd think we were the hard drive space after installing Modern Warfare 2.
Big game.
The largest game in the world.
Yep.
And just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Especially if you need to update, it needs to delete everything on there. So small. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter J, as in jalapeno. Hello, my name's Hosh, and plug it into player 2.
Bringing the D, lightful energy, you know of me. It's Darren, hi. And, you know, seeing where we're going with this bit.
What's the pirate's favourite letter, guys?
R.
Yeah, you'd think that, but it'd be the C! It's Cerys. Hi.
I'll play into you. I'll play into your joke. It's a nice classic joke.
I think collectively it's the most energy we've had in our intros.
Yeah!
Hello, I'm Josh.
Oh my god.
Oh god, I hated myself doing that. But yes, we're here. We're back with another episode for fighting. Fighting, no more. Placid natures here. If you haven't listened to our episodes before, this is a fight episode where we fight over a random topic that has been generated by our computer man, Darren.
Hi.
And in there, we then buy each other a game and we fight over 4 categories, being most accurate, value for money, most entertaining, and then a play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. But obviously, we're all excited to move forward with today's episode.
Yep.
But we need to look back and see what you guys thought of our last one and what the best game was to be thrown into our vault. So shall we open the vault, guys? Beautiful, guys. That was very long vault opening. You need to really work on your gains. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So last episode we were doing first-person non-shooters, which Darren delightfully dubbed FPNS. NS. That's FPNS.
It's an FPS, but not.
FPNS. And it was a surprisingly difficult category. I spoke to quite a few people who hadn't actually heard of many of the games that we were discussing. I don't know if you felt the same. When we bought them all, obviously Ghostwire, I think, had been
The big one.
one. And the others were, what the hell is this?
The other two were games I had seen on, like, the rolling list on the front of the Steam homepage.
Right,
And gone,
okay.
oh, a game. Thought it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
We had to go for more out there games, I think, last
It's
episode.
okay, you can say bad.
I'm not saying bad. I don't think they're all bad games.
I think they're all fine.
I think they're all fine games.
Yeah.
As you gave Ghostwire last year, it's the most fine
It's
game.
the most good game.
Yeah,
7 out of
it's-
10.
yes.
Perfectly good.
Perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be offended by it, but no way am I telling everyone to buy it.
Yeah.
And then I'd buy it and give it to someone else on a podcast.
Correct.
Yes.
Suffer with me.
So we put out a poll to the public. So which was the best of the games of Bendy and the Ink Machine, The Talos Principle, and Ghostwire Tokyo to be added to the vault? This sadly shuffled in.
Yeah.
Avoiding eye contact with some of the really good games like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm sorry, I'm here. Then running its way to Blood Bowl. Going, oh, we're about the same.
Blood Bowl and fucking Fighter Z or whatever's in there.
Is it Dragon Ball Fighters?
Fighters huddling in the corner.
Yeah. So what game do you reckon was added? What do you think the public voted for?
I'm inclined to say of the 3, it might be Talos, just because most people who play it really like it. It seems the most generally well received in its own audience.
I would be shocked if it wasn't Ghostwire, just based off the fact that people know it the most.
Now we've said that's going to be Bendy.
Yeah.
It's actually Ghostwire.
It's
So
Ghostwire, cool.
well done, Cerys. Point to you.
Woo!
No, it doesn't go towards anything in the episode, but well done for getting
Can we not just sneak it in there?
It's the only point you get in this episode.
In person here, we just
I know.
point at Cerys. Cool.
Yeah, no, we did our.
I'm gonna be blunt with you there. Like, I did not hear that. I was too busy complaining about the fact that Josh said I wasn't gonna win any points this episode, and then I turned around and you were both just pointing at me, and it was very disconcerting.
It's a lovely visual gag for our perfectly audio podcast.
Yes, completely audio for this week. But yes, we will throw Ghostwire in there rather unceremoniously, smash it in the
With
ground.
its arms tied behind its back.
Yeah, front ways as well. We make sure it learns its lesson. And we better close it. I'm not going to leave the light on for it. We just leave it in the darkness. Leave it in the darkness it deserves. Do you want to close the vault, guys? lot. Yes, the vault is
That sound is me falling over.
gravel everywhere.
Yeah.
You keep leaving too much pocket gravel,
Yeah.
mate.
That's how I acquire it.
Too heavy.
I fall over and then when no one's looking, I just shovel it into my
Pockets
pockets.
are too heavy.
I feel like it's just self-fulfilling gravel then.
Yeah.
You never get any more or any less. You're just
self-fulfilling
That's going to be the title of my memoirs.
self-fulfilling gravel. Oh man, that'd be good. It'd be good. I don't know what I'd expect from that book.
I don't know. Me neither. I'd learn when I write it.
Fair enough. Okay,
I've got to live it first.
Oh, do you? Yeah. But yes, so we're on to this week's episode, which means we are looking at what was pulled from last week. Not last episode, the episode before, from the random genre generator. And what we pulled was, and we're still working on what the title is going to be, but it's games beginning with the first letter of our names.
Yes.
It's alliterative.
Alliterative games, or alphabet games, or something like that.
Alliterate or illiterate?
It depends on what games we've bought. Is the answer to that one.
Illiterate games for illiterate gamers.
Yay!
I'm going to turn to Darren, as we always do, and ask him, what does this mean?
Do you know that bit at the top of the box where it says its name?
Yeah.
Do you know the bit on like the top of your passport where it says your name?
Yeah.
You know, the first letter of one, the first letter of the other. If they're the same, nailed it.
Nice.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was...
I think that's the best explanation I've ever given.
That's pretty much it. We were buying each other games which started with the first letter of our name. So Darren was being bought a game which began with D,
Yep.
Cerys, C, and me, J, as you'd expect.
Yep.
Yeah. And we did some buying. We'll do some reveals now for the games, and we'll do it in the order that we received them in, as always. So would the first person like to reveal what game they received?
Okay, so I got my game first, and I got Control.
Of which game?
So yeah, I got Control.
Of which game?
Yeah, I don't want to go into it too much.
Just
to be honest, but,
what is the game?
like,
What is Control?
So Control is a.
That sounds like one of the episode title things.
What is
What is Control?
We'll go to Darren. What is Control, Darren?
I don't know. It's controlling.
Control? Is it? Yeah. Okay.
I made the joke and I got put on the spot by my own joke.
So, Control is a third-person kind of action, adventure, sci-fi crossover where you play a girl called Jessie who has kind of had a traumatic childhood experience revolving a... What are you laughing at?
You know, traumatic experience.
No, I heard a girl called Jessie. Not Jessie's girl, then. That's what I can think of.
Anywho,
Sorry.
she grows up in New York, and there is this really kind of...
Sorry, can we have an accent for New York, please?
No.
Nailed it.
Absolutely not. And...
New York.
Oh, God. We'll get through the explanation of this game.
Yeah, I do
eventually,
apologise.
guys. Okay, so it revolves around this traumatic experience she's had with what's called the Federal Bureau of Control, which is a secret kind of US government agency tasked with kind of studying things that don't adhere to the laws of our reality.
Not paranormal stuff, but also just like weird.
It is kind of like a supernatural, I would say, rather than paranormal.
Okay.
In that these are things that have they're scientific. It's not paranormal in the horror sense of ghosts and that sort of thing. It's supernatural in the sense of these are scientific discoveries that have led to essentially
I think phenomenon was the right thing, which is what you said originally. So yeah,
it's like halfway to paranormal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a shit being weird.
And she has to go around this bureau in New York in this building, and essentially what has happened is they've got into a lockdown because these...
We know what that's like. No one can relate to a lockdown.
They've gone into a lockdown essentially because these kind of otherworldly threats have come in through these kind of like portals and things in the building, and they've overtaken some people who work in there. Simultaneously, she's trying to figure out what happened to her brother when she was a kid, who communicates with her telepathically but it's not actually there throughout the game. And at the very kind of beginning, the whole point of this is that she goes in and she discovers the dead body of the director of the bureau who she'd gone to for answers, and it looks like a suicide, but it's kind of highly speculated that it's not. And because she comes across the body and essentially survives kind of a little bit of an attack, she goes into the next room of the building and sees her pictures everywhere, and it kind of is implied that she is overtaken as the director of the bureau, and it's her job to kind of sort this out so she can get the answers that she wants.
So it's a action-adventure game with paranormal situations and a cool gun, and you're going off solving mysteries by shooting things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that pretty much it?
Sounds pretty good,
Just want to make sure that I've just...
Yeah,
I like it.
That is
Yeah.
it. That is it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's Control.
That is Control.
We will open the packaging of the second game.
Yeah, which was me.
And what was it?
I received the game Doom Eternal. Sequel to Doom. Not that Doom, the other Doom.
The film?
The film. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, correct.
Direct sequel.
Yes.
With The Rock.
Yeah. There are a lot of rocks, yes.
Yes, good.
So,
Emily Blunt.
if I read... Some of the rocks are blunt, some might be sharp. If I read the back of the box...
What about Carl Urban? Do you want to do something with that as well?
I don't know. Urban, concrete, rocks.
Perfect, nailed it. There we are.
If I read the back of the box, Hell's armies have invaded Earth. There's the plot for you. That's basically it. It's Doom. There's demons on Earth. They've taken over. Doom guy is sent to deal with it. It has a bit more of a story than the Doom 2016, which it follows on from, just because everyone knows who he is, basically. So Doom guy in this one is represented as like he's essentially the demon boogeyman.
Right.
I heard it described in a review as like he would be the guy. He would be the guy that demon mothers tell their kids about to get them to behave.
Yeah.
He's John
Doom
Wick.
guy's gonna get you. But yeah, it's basically it's Doom. It's a combination of light platforming and getting put into an arena and shooting the shit out of everything. There's animated, well choreographed glory kills. There's lots of different weapons. There's lots of different ways of attacking. It has a cool sort of central loop where you have to use the chainsaw to get ammo for your gun to do more damage, and then you have a flamethrower which you can shoot, and if you set enemies on fire they drop armor. So you have to sort of manipulate the playing field in certain ways to get your armor or get your ammo to be able then to defeat the stronger demons.
Right, that's cool.
That's all I'll say about it for now, because I think anything else strays into sort of the other categories.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just similar to 2016. It's just a raw shooter. It hasn't really got much story going on. It hasn't got much sort of extra stuff going around the edges. It's just go into this level and shoot things.
Makes sense. Cool. And we all know what Doom is, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you say it's a Doom game. You know what you're getting really from it. Yeah. It's anything they make that's like the Wolfenstein, etc.
Exactly.
It's like you're going in, you're shooting a bunch of fucking things.
Yeah. I'd say a similar sort of vibe about our next game.
Yeah, our next game, which was me guessing it last. I would say there's a theme here, but it's fine.
I mean, this one arrived, I think, in the middle somewhere and then just didn't arrive for ages.
No. And I received Judgement, which is a spin-off of the Yakuza series. I would up the first actual spin-off of the Yakuza series. I mean, Ishin, you could argue, is a spin-off, but it's focused on the same characters.
It's the first one that isn't then Yakuza : title.
Yes.
There was Yakuza Dead Souls, which was the zombie shooter, and there's Ishin, which is the samurai era one, but this is the first one that completely separates, I think.
Yeah. So this is very different in the fact that it takes place in 2018. So it's set in the modern day area that you expect of a Yakuza game, because we take place in exactly the same area, which I can't remember the name. It's was it begins with a K?
Kamurocho?
That's it. We're back in Kamurocho. So if you know where you're going in the old Yakuzas, you know where you're going in this one. This one follows Yagami. You are a lawyer at the very beginning, and you have just managed, it says 99.9% of all people who go as defendants are put in jail. But you managed to get a serial killer off because you've managed to get all the evidence and you've proven that he's innocent of the crime. The serial killer then goes home and kills his girlfriend in a grotesque, horrible way. Racked with guilt, you decide to leave being a lawyer behind and we join you 3 years later where you've become a private investigator who's now actually hell-bent on finding the truth rather than just getting your client off by finding evidence to prove what you're trying to do. So this follows, that's the idea of this. You are a guy in 2018 going through doing something slightly different to what the Yakuza game is, because you have now basically get contracted in with the death of some Yakuza from the Curie clan, I think it is, who have been found with their eyes punched they're quite grisly deaths. And you are tasked with finding evidence to get this guy Hamura off, who's part of a different Yakuza clan. And you find evidence to prove that he probably didn't kill this first guy. But as you go forwards, you find that he probably still is linked. And the main story is you going off to try and find out who is actually responsible for these deaths and bringing them to justice. Alongside this, you do a bunch of side quests. So you get a bunch of different jobs that show up in your office for you to complete, get given to you by the law agency. You work with your best friend who's like an ex-Yakuza who got kicked out.
Nice.
But none of the characters I've come across actually show up in the previous Yakuza games. This is like a whole new separate entity. And it's done on the new engine that they've got. It looks really nice. It feels much better. It's less focused on the bombastic. It's probably a lot more grounded is how you look at it. And they've got different things that you wouldn't expect from a Yakuza game. So you like big parts of it are you tailing suspects, you're identifying clues in an area, you do chases after people where you have to do quick time events, and you've got like a drone that watches and like gets different images. So it's doing it but in a different style to what it could be. So instead of you going round a corner and finding a man dressed as a giant baby, you get a message in your thing going, there's a weird pervert in the area, can we deal with it? And you then find evidence that way.
Cool.
But it's Yakuza, maybe for the more grounded person, I think this is actually a good place to... I think if you enter on this, I'm not going too much into this, but if you enter in on Judgment, you're probably not going to find the Yakuza games. You'll find the Yakuza games, I think, a bit harder to get into.
Okay.
But it's a very good game to just go with the Judgment games.
Cool.
So it's its own style, but very much feels like a Yakuza game as well.
Yeah.
It works both ways. But yeah, that's what I got. And on the back it says Justice is Blind, which I think is a great thing because obviously it's all about a guy who's having their eyes stabbed out.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good. But yeah, did we... so those are the games we bought each other. Were there games that we thought about getting people that were, starting with those letters?
I'm going to go straight away, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. No. As soon as I heard this, I thought it's either going to be the first Doom or Doom Eternal, and I remember thinking that you probably already played the first one.
Yeah.
Also that I'd heard a lot of good things about Doom Eternal. People had a lot of fun with it, so I was like, okay, let's give it a go.
Fair. I didn't think about Just Cause, so I know you don't like it.
No, I don't. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't very pleased with that sort of idea, but I don't think it's as good.
I thought a little bit about Jack and Daxter, but it's hard to sort of get them individually.
I mean, that would have been a good one because we've got J and D,
Exactly.
and you've bought it. Yeah, it'd be a good way to fight for it.
Jack and Daxter's class.
In the
as
same
well.
way of the letters, I thought about Just Dance just for a fucking laugh.
Oh my god.
That would have been so
Who
good.
would end up streaming that?
Darren
Me.
would have.
Oh my god, you're class at Just Dance.
I'm pretty
as
good,
well.
yeah.
Like, a secret Just Dance talent.
It would have been fun.
I thought about a few games for you. I had an idea of getting you Cuphead because I thought Cuphead's good fun, but you'd really struggle with it because it's really hard.
Feel
But
body.
also because you love cups of tea, and I thought it'd be a really a good link in.
Cups of tea.
You love cups of tea, cups of coffee, and stuff like
Cups
that.
of coffee, yeah. I never
Both.
drink tea.
Oh, maybe for Mugman then.
Mugman. I thought about Crisis because it's a really good game. I just don't know if it's aged as well as it could have done, but it still looks amazing. Yeah. I thought briefly about getting you the new Call of Duty game because also it mean that I could then play Call of Duty with you as well. Yeah. So it would have been a selfish purchase. And I also looked at the Chrono series, but I couldn't get Chrono Trigger for any acceptable amount of money, which is why I then settled on Control. Yeah. So
also, it's got a girl with red hair on the front.
Well, we'll get to that because this is where we're going to be fighting about what is the most accurate.
Round one, fight!
So yeah, as I said, we're going to move into the next ones. The first three categories, most accurate, value for money, and most entertaining, go to the person who bought the game. And then the last point, player of the game, probably goes to the last one. I think we're going to do most accurate slightly differently though on this episode, because I feel like the person who purchases the game may have to argue why it's more accurate, but anyone can sort of join in on it.
Yeah.
Just because otherwise we're all going to go, yeah, we all bought games and we did all buy games starting with the letters of our names, which means technically we could all give each other a point.
We could.
Which would be very boring. Does anyone want to argue why they think that theirs is more accurate? Because I'm quite happy to go first.
Doom Eternal's got a D and an E in it, and so does your name. So
okay,
and an A.
But it's two different words,
and an R.
And the second word of my name doesn't start with E.
And an N.
It does, yeah.
So your name is actually
the words are in
in
there.
The title of that game.
Yeah, but my name's one
word. Is Darren literally?
It's all in there somewhere. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Your name is in that title.
It is.
It's meant to be.
No part of my name that begins with E though.
Control.
No, but it's in there.
Okay, so Control, obviously, as you said, is a woman.
Yeah.
Who's a bit nuts.
Oh, good. We're going to go with B. Okay.
With red hair.
Yeah.
And it's called Control, which you have over my life.
Nice.
You're making me sound like a really horrible
No,
person.
I'm saying that
You're
we're together.
nuts, and you have control over my life. That makes me sound
No,
like...
we're married. We are equally linked to each other. Like, I say stuff to you almost telepathically, and then you respond to it like a brother and sister would in this game.
That is grim. Oh my god.
Do you want to go for White Judgment?
I'll go for a little bit. It's less White Judgment does and more what I think the other two don't.
Okay.
I'm going for the more of the attack route.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
It's,
This is where you were in the last series. Yeah. You've been like real placid, and it gets to the back end, you're like, fuck, I might be losing. Back against the wall, I'm just swinging.
What happens is I get slowly beat down as the episodes go on, and by this point, I'm just fucking like done. Right, let's fucking go. Same first letter, only half the words in that have the same first letter. Control. Same first letter as the player. Josh, you play Control?
Have I played Control?
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't start with a J. I play Control. Doesn't start with a D.
Right.
Technically, it only starts 1/3 of the players. Same first name.
Right. But Doom...
Yeah, only half the words.
But I don't understand your argument here.
You understand?
We're buying it for the person, though, aren't we?
It's for the player.
Yeah.
You've played it.
This is a real thin attack. Have you got another barb to this attack?
No.
Oh, right, okay. I like it. It's almost as good as letters being in there. I think mine's stronger. But,
I do think
it only says same first letter. On that fucking front, we're all equal.
Yeah, we
also,
are.
The lady does have red hair.
Yeah, but it's not same first character, is it? It's same first letter. You can't add extra fucking caveats to it.
Doom Eternal has her entire name in it.
Do you know what?
Oh, it's the first
I
letter.
actually think Doom Eternal gets this.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Why?
The lead character is Doom Guy, which also starts with the
With a
first
D.
letter. Judgment, I don't start with Y.
I mean, I feel any Yakuza game you start with the question of why.
I was going to say as well, she's called Jessie, which is J, technically.
So we're
all established that Doom Eternal wins. Yay!
I mean, I don't mind.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Excellent. Fab.
1 point for
Why
you. I think this one was very hard to work out where it could be.
Yeah.
It could have easily been just a 3-way tie. If we're going to go down to the minutiae, they all start with the right letters.
Yeah.
The difference is Doom Eternal, the main protagonist, is called... I don't even know his name is Doom Guy.
It is Doom.
It is just all he's known as.
That's what everyone calls him. So why not just go with...
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a name.
Fuck it.
That's fine. We didn't have to fight that. That was quite a quick one for us, really.
I feel what happened is we all went for like the sucker punch immediately. None of it worked. We all just went, fuck it, you.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought you were going to go with the name Judgment and go because of who I am.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the word. It's the same first letter.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
I was going for the angle of
Also,
which had
this
the...
on the front, this is the same face you make at me when I put the recycling in the wrong bag.
well, that's which maybe put them in the right bags. So we will say that first point of the episode goes to Doom Eternal. So a point to Cerys. I think that's the only point Doom Eternal may be getting this entire game.
That's fine,
We'll
I'll
see.
take it where I can get it.
But so we'll move into the second point, which is value for money.
Yeah.
Now we need to do this. We need to know how much we spent and how long the games last. I think there's going to be a clear winner for this one again. So, do we want to do an order they purchased? We'll start with Doom because you got a point last time. Doom. How much did you spend on Doom?
I spent a lovely £11.95.
Cool. How much was for Judgment?
£13.50.
And I spent a gentleman's £6.15 for Control, which is far cheaper than the others. It's about half the price of Judgment.
Yes.
The issue here, I mean, firstly, I just want to say the fact you can get a quality game like Control for about £6 now is insane, because that is a great game for £6. The issue is the length of the games.
Okay.
So, should we look at completionist or mains and sides? We're using howlongtobeat.com.
I would say, personally, I always would rather go for mains and sides because I don't usually complete them. But I think
fine.
we
can
look
do.
at both.
We'll look at both.
Yeah.
So, we'll start with Doom. For main and sides, you're looking at 19.5 hours.
Okay.
Completionist is 27 hours.
Cool.
For
Yeah, it feels right.
Control, mains and sides is 18.5 hours, so 1 hour shorter. But completionist is 28 hours, which is 1 hour longer.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the big boy, which is Judgment.
Yeah.
Main and sides 45.5 hours.
Yeah.
To complete it 103.
Yeah, it's a big old game.
Jesus, what?
So I think we can safely say Doom Eternal is out of the running because it's the same price as Judgment, but it's the same length as Control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, mains and sides, even though Control is half the price of Judgment, if you double its mains and sides, it doesn't equal.
No.
It doesn't beat mains and sides of Judgment, and doubling 28 is definitely not 103.
Yeah.
Judgment is massive, and I think the big selling point for Judgment is mains and sides. Completionist aside, because completionist, if anyone's played a Yakuza game, a completionist can be a right ball ache in a Yakuza style game.
It could be 10 hours less than that. It could be 20 hours more.
Yeah.
A lot of it can be luck based, especially in the gambling games.
Yeah, and something you have to learn how to play Mahjong, which is an absolute chore.
No, Mahjong's easy.
But mains and sides, you will do all the mains and sides
100%.
in a Yakuza game. There's no way you don't. So I think that 45.5 hours is a fair reflection. Even if you're going for the full completionist of Control at 29 hours, it could be higher or lower, and double that. It just about reaches the mains and sides, and 45.5 is probably a minimum, because it could be a bit where I spend 2 hours gambling away anyway. Yeah. I think Judgment takes this point.
Yeah, I would find it very difficult to argue that, I gotta be honest, so...
And it's the good thing is it's an enjoyable run to get that as well. That's the big selling point for it. It's not just long for the sake of long. It's not a Digimon Cyber Sleuth where we're like, collects everything.
Yeah, it's not just like collectibles hidden around everywhere. It's you walk down a side street and a man comes up to you and it's like, hey, do you want to take part in like chicken racing? You go, well, fucking obviously.
I wish.
That's an hour of my life gone.
Right, I wish there was chicken racing. There isn't chicken racing in this. There is drone racing, however, where you race your drone, but you have to be strong against the wind because the wind can knock you off current, and you call your drone the Pigeon, which I was very disappointed when it wasn't a pigeon for the first time. However, you can get a skin, especially if you buy the PS5 version where it gives you all the DLC, which makes it look like a pigeon.
Yay!
So you can fly a pigeon around the place.
Very nice.
But yes, so for value for money, it goes to Judgment. So that's a point to Darren.
Woo.
I'm the only one without a point right now, which makes
How
me...
unlike you.
It is unlike me. It's almost like I've already secured... I've already secured, so why do I have to fight too hard? Up next is entertainment. Now, I think this could be an interesting fight.
Yeah.
Darren, do you want to go first with your entertainment?
I'll go first with my entertainment for my most cancelable take of either of our seasons of this podcast. I thought this game was fine. It really just did nothing for me. The problem I have with it is I know it's Doom's thing, that it's very style over substance, but it's got about as much style as Doom 2016 had, and like no substance. It just feels like I'm going into an arena. It spawns like 30, 40 enemies. I kill enemies until the door opens. I leave. I do 30 seconds of platforming. I get dropped into another arena where it spawns 30 or 40 enemies. I kill them until the door opens. I go to the next arena. There's little bits of plot that almost makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because part of the charm of 2016 especially is you just get dropped onto this planet. You are a nobody essentially. You rock up, you get given your mission, you punch a hole in the screen, you walk out the door, you kill demons. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Now you're like this recognized godly figure, and you hear radio broadcasts about like, do not attempt to engage with the Doom guy, he's too dangerous. I'm like,
Right.
that's sort of taken the fun out of it a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're not just this sort of faceless, nameless killing machine roaming through the demons.
Would you say the fighting is more over the top than the last one? Because, I mean, that's how it was marketed. Because I remember when it was, like, first... I can't remember who the guy was, but they had, like, the musician attached to it and stuff like that. Like, oh, my God, this is going... like, everyone's like...
that's kind of the reason why I bought it as well, because there was always marketing about the fact that it was like Doom, but another level of Doom.
No.
Right.
It's stylistically very good. They've got a lot of different, like, the main aspect of it is glory kills, where if you get down to a certain level of health, you do a fun, like, cutscene kill. And I think they've got over double the amount they did in the last game.
Okay.
There's, like, 4, depending on which angle you come at them from. There's an above one, there's, like, a below one, I think.
And is that with different guns as well? All the guns have different...
Mostly they're melee glory kills,
Right, yeah,
so it would just be like you stab them.
Okay.
The great one is there's these little, I cannot remember what they're called. They're essentially floating ball enemies. They're like a cyclops eye and a massive mouth.
Yeah,
And the glory kill for them is you pull their eye out and stuff it in their mouth. That's a lot of
Nice.
fun.
Nice.
But it's really base enemies. You just shoot them until the glory kill animation starts. Every other one has a very specific weak point. But every enemy is so... I don't know if it's because I'm playing on normal or whatever, but every enemy is so bullet spongy that instead of just shooting through them, you're taking up far too much of your ammo to kill a base enemy. And then the special enemies, you just stop whatever you're doing, you get the correct orientation of weapons to do the weak spot kill, which, to be fair, is just you get the upgrade for the heavy rifle, which gets you... It turns it into a sniper, and you can basically one-shot off their weak points every time.
Right, okay.
And that's great, because otherwise I'd be shooting them for like half an hour while they do unblockable damage on me.
Yeah, I mean that's what Doom is, though, isn't it? It's like you go in there. I always found that Doom was a switch off mind game. It's just go off, switch off, enjoy yourself. Like you're meant to just have simple, easy fun going for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
I was like, I don't know if this is too harsh. I was bored by it.
Yeah.
Just because it is you go into these arenas and you do all these kills, and it's very sort of gloriously animated, and the music's great, and the visuals are great, and every enemy has like a very distinct design, very distinct way they're done. But once you have done one arena fight against 40 enemies, you could ask me to describe the rest of the level to you, and I'd have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just repeat that 10 times and we're done.
Yeah.
So by the 7th arena of enemies, I'm like, oh, we could be fucking wrapping up now, boys.
I also felt like this was one of the big marketing I remember for Doom Eternal was the fact that it was like the online dungeon creator. I know you could do it in the first Doom, but this was like the big thing for Doom Eternal. Like they focused so much more on that. Have you done any of that style of it? Not to say why have you not done that. It's more like have you gone into that? I don't know if that's still
Not
going or
massively any of that. I did a lot of that in the first Doom, so it's similar to that. Again, it's fine. Like you can play other people's levels, but it's entirely dependent on how creative people are. There'll be one good level for every 10. Like here's 100 enemies in a tiny box.
Yeah.
Like it's entirely. I played the multiplayer of the original as well. The original one as well. It's fine.
Okay.
It's multiplayer. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I want from it is almost counter to what the game wants to be.
Yeah.
I just wish there was more to it.
Yeah.
I wish there was more variety rather than I walk into a room, it spawns 10 enemies, I kill them, it spawns another 10 enemies, or I walk into an arena and it spawns 50. And some of them, like...
It's the linear action RPG that doesn't always... Yeah, and...
It's wish I had more going on.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of, like...
It's obviously got moments that you go, that's really fun, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But it's just... Does it work the whole time?
Yeah. It's the same with any game, though, isn't it? It gets to a point where it's like, okay, the first couple of times it's fun, and then when it gets to that kind of repetitive kind of circle, if it doesn't have more to offer than that, then it's going to get tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes almost white noise, doesn't it? That's it. I get that. Do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next with Judgment?
I'm happy to go next. So I know that I've talked a little bit before about the fact that, like, because we've had so much going on, like, I haven't really... I don't want to say enjoyed gaming, I just haven't really been able to switch off enough that my poor little brain has been able to concentrate on gaming enough. However...
It's been running on that hamster wheel too hard, that's hasn't it? Yeah.
I will fully say that this game has gotten me back into enjoying gaming again, 100%. This game was one that because I was so kind of in my own head, Josh was like, you need to play it, it'll be really good, you'll love it. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
It was more that I think you need to get more than a couple of hours. You need to get a bit of time.
Needless to say, I'm probably about 7 hours into this now, which I think is probably the most I've actually played a game for this podcast. And I literally, every time I stop playing it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm looking forward to going and play that again. The story is really, really good. The combat in it is my favourite part. Like, there's so much. The
gun's amazing.
The gun's amazing, but it's not only the gun, it's the fact that you've got like this capability to be able to kind of like telekinetically throw things at them as well. And you get. The enemies are different as well, so you've got like elevated versions of, so you've got like the Hiss guards who you're kind of like, they're easy, they're fine, and it goes all the way up to these like troopers who like the ones that float, like fly around, and there are really creepy ones that look like big spiders, and like so the enemy design is really good. It's one thing I do like about it is it's fairly linear. You know me, I love something that's fairly linear.
Say that, I think I got lost in Control.
Yeah?
I got lost a couple times.
I was trying to find something specifically, and I don't know why I was looking for it. I wanted to go somewhere. I don't think I was able to go in there yet.
Yeah.
And I was getting more and more frustrated.
The thing I find with it, if you are playing the game through, it's quite linear. Mm-hmm. As soon as you try to get back to somewhere you've been to find something, you will never find it.
I gotta be honest, that was part of the reason, and I know this is shocking coming from me actually, that I was going to say that I find this game in particular very entertaining, is that it doesn't make it too easy on you.
Yeah.
I really I didn't expect it. This game doesn't have a difficulty set when you first start it. It just puts you in as what it's meant to be. I really like that. I've not found it too easy. I've not found it too hard. I've found parts of it where I'm going through the thing where I was like, oh my god, I keep fucking dying. But then
it was like that first boss, you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. And then as soon as you figure it out, it's all good. It's not been so hard that I've had to like use a guide or a Google or anything like that. Yeah, I've been able to kind of figure it out by myself. Don't laugh at the fact that
use a Google.
Got grandma over it.
Grandma
I did fax my friend, but they never got back to me.
And I really like that they've got what I guess is only comparable to is the kind of Resident Evil games kind of puzzles, and you have to go and find this, and in order to go into this room you need to find this, and you need to talk to this person. And I just think that it is so well crafted and so well written and so well thought out in terms of the fact that like you don't stay in one place either. You randomly will go into like a different dimension or a different astral plane, and you have to figure that out before you can get into the next bit. It just keeps you on your toes all the time. And I it's very entertaining to play.
One thing I really like about this game is that it's a bit weird, but it's sort of weird perfectly within its own reality.
Yeah.
Like there's a great side quest where there's, I think one of the like weird phenomenon is a fridge.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the problem with it is, but it's if you stop looking at it, it does something dodgy.
Yeah.
So you walk past a guy who's just on an upper level and he's like, I'm just looking at this fridge because if I stop looking at it, I'll die. And you go, all right, that sounds fine. That sounds perfectly normal. Yeah, why the fuck not?
Like object of power, they call them, that you find is a rotary phone.
Oh, yeah.
And when you go up and find it, it's just fucking shooting at you the entire time.
Yeah.
And then when you get close to it, it like goes back into a room and it's perfectly fine. It's in a box.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff in there you just think, wow, this is wild. Okay.
But overall, you really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it.
Different ends for you and Darren,
Very,
really.
very much.
What's another game that's very weird?
Surprisingly, not
that weird.
Not that weird. Judgment. Not as crazy as I thought it was going to be. I went in there thinking it was going to see the same bombastic, crazy nature that is Yakuza 0. I mean, Yakuza 0 is the only Yakuza game I've played outside of Judgment. I played a little bit of one of the Kiwami games, and a little bit of Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Not much in the way of those, but they are a little everything's
wild.
crazy going on. Like, as I said, you go into a room and there's a bunch of people dressed as babies crying that you have to get them baby milk because you thought it was a pregnant woman, but actually it's someone role playing for a sexual thing.
Yeah.
This
love Like a Dragon.
Yeah,
great game.
So this isn't crazy, but it's still a little out there. This is a lot of really nice bits in there. Like every time you're doing like a crime scene section and you're looking around to find the clues, you can find a stray cat. So like that's a bonus thing. You have to find all the stray cats, but every time you're doing a section, there is a stray cat. You hear a meow, you're like, oh, there's one in the area. Better go find that. And you go, ooh, a cat every time. It's what it does. It fights much more fluid than it was in Zero. The fighting feels much nicer. It's not like I have to do certain combos to do it. You can buy different experience attacks, your triangle when someone's down or that. You can buy different ones like that. Like you can jump off a wall to hit someone. You can jump over them to do it. You can use a weapon with it. Yeah. You buy different abilities on that. The game itself is really fun. It is fun. It's really well put together and it's better crafted and better written, I would say, than a Yakuza game, which may not be what everyone agrees because Yakuza games are a lot of fun, but I don't think they're the best written story, which sounds bad to say.
I always viewed them as the Japanese equivalent of like a telenovela.
Yeah.
Where they're intentionally like hammed up and silly, and it's not like written, it's not the height of writing, but it's written perfectly for what it is.
I think that's great. And this has changed its tone to a procedural crime drama.
Yeah.
So when someone comes up, you goes to like a sepia tone and goes, their name, it's like doom doom, almost like it's almost like that expectation. And you go through and you meet people and it is done in this crime style. Even like the voiceover for because every time you go into a new chapter in a Yakuza game,
it replays the last one. Yeah.
This one very much does in a much more serious tone to what a Yakuza game is. But there's everything in this is done correctly. Do you know what? It sounds weird to say correctly, but it feels the right vibe for what it is, and it is fun. It does still have silliness in there. Like some of the side quests are a little weird. Like there's one which is like the Twisted Trio. I'll talk about that in a bit later. There's one where I had to go. Someone thought there was a ghost in their house. A flat they wanted to rent. For them and their new girlfriend, and you go, I want you to check to make sure there is a ghost, and they go, why do you want it to be a ghost there? Lower the rent. So you have to go there, and then you find out it's a person, and you have to chase that person down the streets, and it turns out it's the girlfriend who's moved in earlier, and she's trespassing there to try and lower the rent as well. Right. And it's stuff like that which you go, it's a bit silly still. Yeah. Even though it's not, oh my god, it's something dangerous.
I like that though, because it's detective silly. It's not... The thing with Yakuza is the sub-stories are weird, but they're weird in their own little world. Like in the previous episode, I was talking about Ishin, when I described story Ishin and sub-story Ishin, like ships in the night who have no interlacing.
This all feels like it's
it feels like things that would happen to a detective in the world.
What was great, and it's not going to be my play of the game, but there's a moment where I was doing a side quest where... I'm trying to lure out a pervert who's stealing girls' panties with a drone, obviously. So I've gone...
Drone?
Yeah, drones are a big feature in this game.
Oh, God.
But you go off to La Marche, obviously to La Marche, to buy a really nice pair of pants. And you go to run back to your office to set up the trap. And as I was running there, I ran into another side quest, which I didn't realise I was going to run into. Ran in, and something just exploded in the street. And then there was a kid crying, and then another bomb's going off. You run off, you defuse this bomb with a kid crying next to it just in time, and you get a phone call going, I am the judgment for this city. You will never find me. It gives you a random clue, and you've got then 5 minutes to find another bomb in the city with no marking on it. You're like, I was just buying pants to try and catch a pervert. Yeah. Now I have to try and save everyone from an explosion. You're like, fuck, all right, off I go, and you're running off to Earth Angel because you work it out. Yeah. But it's got this level of weirdness, but the story's really good. Also, what I like about Judgment is that as it's the new engine, they have they've done the mouth movements to match English voiceovers as well as Japanese. So normally the other ones I played in Japanese with English subtitles. This one I'm playing in English. And it makes it really nice. I think it's a really well done game. I mean, I don't think it's for everyone. I think there are people who like Yakuza who aren't going to like this because it's not the silly nature. I think there are people who are going to like it more. I also think there are people who are going to go into it and think it's too much and too overwhelming going on. I'm very fortunate to have gone into a Yakuza game before this, which has made me enjoy it even more.
I'm excited to play it.
Oh, and I thoroughly recommend it. As I said, I actually think I prefer this to Yakuza 0, which is just a bit more grounded and a bit more my speed. There's a load of stuff in there I really liked, and I can't wait to find more and do more. But again, you just get sidetracked by, I've got to spend 7,000 yen in this store to try and be best friends with this person.
Yeah.
I'll spend 7,000 on this random thing just to get a new record player to put in my office to then listen to heal myself up whilst I'm decorating it with all the cats I found, whilst also eating food that my landlord's given me because I'm not paying her rent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why? It's all this sort of
Glorious game.
But yes, it's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and that's the thing. I haven't had a lot of time to play it, but when I have played it, I've gotten that 9 hours in, I don't think I've given it enough time for it, but I'm going to be continuing to play this after the episode's done.
Yeah. Cool. So not Doom.
So not Doom. Doom's not it. The question is it Judgment or is it Control?
I'm going to continue to fight for Control, only because I think the difference with... And I know you said you prefer it to Yakuza and that sort of thing, but I feel like that's an iteration of something that you've played before, something that you knew was going to be entertaining when you got it. With this was a real shot in the dark for me, and it was really going to be 50-50 either way because of the headspace I was in when I was playing it. And I think there's something really commendable about how entertaining a game is if it's able to take somebody out of a headspace of I really don't want a game right now to I want to play this all the time. I think that's a really big feat.
I think that's a fair argument as well. I mean, I have played both. I gave up on Control partway through. I got distracted by something else, so it didn't hold my attention fully. Judgment has done for the most part. I mean, admittedly, I wanted to go off and play Dredge in there, which. It's not like you with Ishin, Darren, but it's is it playing to the strengths, knowing that I liked Yakuza 0 to buy me this? Probably. But I would argue that Control is a great game.
Because alternatively, is it risky buying it knowing that you burned yourself out on Yakuza 0?
But all I will say as well is that I know you were like, this has held my attention for this, and I've also wanted, but I would say that you're a person who, if you enjoy a game, multiple games have held your attention. When you feel like you want a game, you want a game. Whereas in my head... If in my head I find it really difficult to go like I'm going to sit down and play hours of this.
Oh yeah.
And then this has made me want to do that. I personally would fight for that.
My stance is just not Doom.
Yeah, I mean,
it took me 3 sittings to finish a level.
I mean, you have platinumed Control as well.
Yes.
I mean, and Control is one of those games that I always have in the back of my mind going, God, I wish I gave it more time. I think Control is like a sleeper hit as well in the fact that no one expected it to be as good as it was. That's not to take anything away from Judgment, because I actually really love Judgment, and Judgment is exactly the level of a Yakuza game I want.
You're into, yeah.
And it really has worked for me. I think, realistically, it's a game that you'd enjoy as well, Cerys, and I know Darren will like.
I will like it, yeah. I haven't played it yet.
However, where do we line? And I'm leaning towards Control. Only because it's something... I mean, it's the same thing as this. They did something completely different with Judgment that wasn't Yakuza.
They turned it away from
the craziness. It wasn't just I'm going to run into there, I'm going to do a bunch of fighting. That is a downside I have with this, and it's the issue I have with the Yakuza games. I hate the fighting. It's like, some people on the street are just going to start shouting at me, punch, 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 keep moving, because they aren't actually problems. I'm just going to punch through them in 3 seconds. Yeah. That's the only thing I don't like, but. I don't know what they would have done differently with that. No, it has to still be a fight game.
They do a Yakuza 7 and make it turn-based.
Yakuza 7 was turn-based?
Like a Dragon's turn-based, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah. It's completely changed.
I don't know. It's hard to work out.
Yeah, they picked their style and ran with it.
I mean, they know what they're doing. They're doing it great. It's the same thing when we watched you stream Fist of the North Star, where watching it, you go, it's great fun. I want to have a go at it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Control. I'm going to give the point to Control, I think.
That's fair.
Me.
Yeah. Like, I can't say enough about Judgment, just 'cause I haven't played it.
Yeah.
I know I did finish Control. I don't think it steers the course. Like, weirdly, I almost think the game of Control is the worst part of it.
Okay.
Like, the best thing about Control is its atmosphere and its world building and the environment it builds up. But it's much like the complaint I had about Doom, which is the combat is a lot of fun, but it sort of is what it is. And it's the same thing about this.
You could argue that with the Yakuza. A Yakuza game is to say, I'm going to run to this person. He's going, I don't like this person. Go speak to this person. You run to that person. I don't like this person. Speak to this person. And you just bounce around for that. Yeah. So you could argue the same thing. If you don't like this game, and I think there are big portions of people who don't like Yakuza games, they won't like this game.
No.
Because this is I would say a lot of people argue this is the worst parts of the Yakuza game. It's the combat and the conversation.
Yeah.
Which people don't like. But you're like, well, I think it's great.
Yeah. I'm happy to do it to controller.
So a point to control. So that's a point to all three of us.
Yeah.
Going into play of the game. Darren's like, oh, fuck. Are you feeling
I'm
strong?
feeling all right about this one. I'm feeling okay about it.
I'm going to go first.
Go for it.
Because I got at least a win here. I have a bunch of things that could have been my play of the game. I think this is something where Yakuza games, like a Dragon games, really go into their own. Is there are moments that you really go, that was brilliant. That really was. There's I got about 3 or 4 that I was like, this is great. This could be it. One of them is that bit where I was running through the alleyway and there was an explosion. I was like, fuck, what a change of pace this is. There's a bit at the beginning where the voiceover is like, and the describing what's going on and the killer takes their eyes, and then the detective goes, "He's lost his eyes," and you're like, that's
brilliant.
I was like, brilliant. This is awful writing, but it's not. It's just
intentionally hammy.
It is intentionally hammy. It was meant to be that sort of way. I was like, brilliant. The moment that I thought was going to be my play of the game is there's a side story where you firstly meet these 2 people where there are perverts. This guy's going to be mentioned in all of them. First, there's a twisted trio, and the first one is the panty professor who's like drone steals away. You find him, he's dressed in a sort of a lab coat, and you have to fight him. There's a second one who will be my player of the game, and then a third one who I've not met yet, but I guarantee these people are going to be caught in it. But you find this guy again, and he's a guy who shouts people to come in and come look at naked women, basically.
Okay.
Firstly, he's brilliant because the whole thing about my thing, he says, is that you get people in just by the euphemisms for boobs is what you need.
Cool.
And he goes, have you got many of those? Well, there's jugs, jigglers, jumbos, bosoms, big uns, bazongas, love bubbles, blouse biscuits. Should I keep going? And you go, no, that's more than enough. But like, it's already going pretty well. Yeah. But then he sends you off to see his girl. And he doesn't want to help her. He's got lots of money, but the way to do it is to go and speak to her. And she's like a girl who you're meant to sort of like chat with, typical one. And she's a bit standoffish. And her name's Madon. And you talk to her, and it's really good. And you go back to her and go, yeah, I've spoken to her. She opened up to me, that's fine. And you go, oh, I'm glad. She was a senior in my high school. I really liked her. But everyone could only look at her giant boobs the whole time. They never really got behind her. She got really standoffish and all this sort of thing. And I felt really bad for her. I want to give her money. And they used to call her Madonkas because she had big badonkas. And and you're like, brilliant. And she goes, I felt really bad for her there, even though she had huge melons.
Good.
And you're like, he's got real serious and thing. He goes, yes, but she does have huge melons. He's like, thanks, dude.
He's like, I feel bad and I have this real emotional connection, but tits.
Yes.
Look at the tits on that.
The way I'm going to go with my play of the game is actually very quick, very easy. We get another one for these twins. She's been groped in public. This one, instead of stealing pants, holds their bums and tells them what sport they should be playing.
Cool.
Obviously.
Like a palm reader.
Yes. And he gets real close to it. But the play of the game is what they call him. His name is Ketchum.
Oh my god!
Big fan.
His name's Ketchum.
Oh
Brilliant.
my god!
But apparently he feels them. And he does it. His name's Ash Ketchum. He's a field runner who runs away really quickly. But just because his name is so close to Ash Ketchum, they call him Ash Ketchum, and that's part of what I love about Yakuza games. They manage
very silly.
They make the silly and they make the puns work across multiple languages. And you're like, how the fuck have you done this? But Ash Ketchum, the groping guy who you then chase, who's wearing a pink sprinting outfit. You go to fight him and he takes his shirt off again, and then he gets super strong, but you've tricked him because the person he's touched is actually the twin's bum, and he gets super strong about it. Here you go, just to let you know, you touched the brother's ass. He goes, no, I got hard from a man. No. And he sort of calls down the police car and goes, man butts, I can't go to prison. The man butts don't do anything for me. It's really weird, but Ass Ketchum, that's it.
Good old Ass Ketchum.
Like I said, a million different things from this game, but Ass Ketchum. Who wants to go after Ass Ketchum?
I'll go. I had one that I thought was going to be my play of the game, and then the game fucked it in the last second. Basically, there's a boss, which is they've taken a specific alien race who are bred to defeat the Doom guy. They're called the Doom Hunters. And what they've done is they've basically taken his body. I think you've probably cut him in half, but there's only half of him there. And they take his body and they turn him into this weird, like, tank thing. But as you're progressing through the level, you are the one who originally presses the button to release his top half from his, like, tomb. And then you see him at various points throughout the level having the various bits of the weapon attached to him. So you see him, like, you walk up to an area and he comes on this pipe and they put a gun on his hand and he zips off. And you find him again. They attach, like, rockets to his shoulders and he zips off. And at the end, you see him, like, come through onto the tank bit. Like, that's cool. I've seen how they've taken this body and, like, warped it into this creature. And he's the boss then. There's 2 stages to the boss. You defeat the tank bit, then you defeat the body bit. And after I beat the boss, I fell through a hole in the floor and there were 2 more. I was like, well, why did you take all this time to establish it if you're just going to be like, it's like fucking Blue Peter, and here's what I made earlier. Why did you go through the effort then? My actual play of the game, the main complaint I had about the combat in this is that the enemies are a bit too bullet spongy. They're a bit too tough. So a fight takes like twice as long as it feels like it should. Yeah. Towards the end of one level, you find your super shotgun, which once you acquire it is a gun that defeats most basic enemies in 1 hit, and it defeats a lot of mid-tier enemies in 2 hits. And it's the best because it actually makes the combat feel a bit quicker. Yeah. But it's really high up in the air. So the way you acquire it, you walk out and there's these 2 like buttons, and he puts his hands on them, and a cage opens in front of you, and it's an enemy type called a Revenant, which is an enemy with 2 like shoulder cannons and a jetpack. Yeah. And he sort of sat there and it's waking up and it's zapping. And then the perspective shifts because you are now the Revenant.
Oh, that's cool.
And you go into this battle arena with the Revenant and enemies spawn as normal. And I'm going into this thinking, well, it's going to be like any time you play as a fucking enemy. They've nerfed the shit out of this. No. Everything dies in 1 to 2 hits with the rockets. And it's fucking... It was the point in which it felt like how I wanted it to feel. Where I was just zipping around, firing rockets off. You have like proper top tier enemies that's exploding. Like, fuck yeah, zip around, shoot a rocket barrage at a group of 4 enemies. And then you eventually beat it all. The gun comes down. You pick up the gun. You go back to the cage you were left in. It zips to like... reverses the view again. So you have the Revenant is just like knelt in front of you with his gun, like, for you, master, I did it. And you take the gun and you shoot him in the face. Immediately. And it was just so good. It was because it was preceded by all of this, like, stuck in an arena for 5 minutes, a little bit of platform stuck in an arena for 5 minutes. It was like, yeah, blow shit up, fuck it, get your powerful gun, shoot him in the face, yeah. Like, the game became what I wanted it to be.
It was like that moment, is it Valfaris we talked about?
Where you get the tank.
You get the tank, going back to the very first episode. You just drop into this tank and absolutely destroy everything in your path. And you're like, this is amazing.
You're like, I've earned this. Fuck you. The enemies are the fucking hand cannons that take 2 entire clips of ammo to even stun. And you're like, 1 rocket, bitch.
Mine is not... mine's more on the level of you're falling through the hole, right? So, as I said in Control, there's a lot of elements of like the environment is reactive. The environment changes with where you move and where you go and that sort of thing, right? And as I said before, one of the things that I really like about this game is that they don't make it too obvious and they don't make it too easy what's going to happen, okay? So when you are kind of looking for this objective power that I talked about earlier, which is the rotary phone in the first one, right? So it shoots at you and there's all this business, and then you have these things that you interact with that change the environment. So I press a button and all of a sudden I am in like what looks like a motel, right?
Right, okay.
Yes.
Ocean View Motel. And you're going through and you're checking it out and blah, 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 blah. And I got stuck for a little while because I was going in and out of the rooms and I was picking things up and it just kind of started looking like, okay, there's nowhere else to go in this motel. Like, how on earth am I supposed to get anywhere else, right? So I turned around and went down this corridor to what I thought was just a wall, because it was just black, right? So I thought, okay, I moved forward. I fell to my death. And was like, okay, not a wall.
Yep.
Actually, turns out to be a cliff. Okay, fine. All right. So thought, do that again. And I thought, there's got to be something to do with this, because if it's not a wall and it's a cliff, then something has got to happen, right? So I go back and I turn, and there's a light switch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. So in this universe, if you click these particular light switches, they change the environment, okay? So I click the light switch, the lights come on, you can see a box with a rotary phone and thing. So my immediate thought is, well, if I press this and I step out, the environment is going to change. No, it fell to my death. So I fell to my death again. And I was like, what the fuck? Because in this game, I thought, it's like the astral plane, right? Someone's going to catch me. Someone's going to be there that I can't see. No, just death, okay? So I do it again. Nothing happens. I switch the light off again. Nothing happens. I switch the light on again. I think that's got to be it, right? It's not. I fell from my death for a third time. It took me. I knew I was doing the right thing, but you switch it. I think 4 times, and I did it only 3. You switch it 4 times, and the environment changes from the motel back to the thing, and you have a bridge
I remember that.
to the thing. I fell to my death 3 times because I was like, I know this light switch is the way that it's gonna go, and I just kept falling to my fucking death. And it was simultaneously, I was like, I know I'm doing the right thing, but it was so frustrating because I was like, when is the environment going to change?
Let me out.
Yeah. And every time it takes you back to the same control point, which was about 2 corridors down from where I was meant to be. And
I
remember that.
Yeah, so it's...
So the play, was it the realisation of what you need to do actually coming to fruition that you weren't going mental?
To be honest, it was the self-belief that even
Yes.
if that was the wrong thing that I was doing, I was going to switch that fucking light switch until it was going to happen anyway, because I was like, there's no other way to get out of this. It has to be
I love that your mindset was like, I've switched it once, just walked there, I've died. Right, instead of me just switching it a bunch of times to see until something might happen, I'm just going to do it another time and just keep trying and keep trying.
Kara's got into the mindset of the programmer bug fixer.
Yeah.
I'm going to increase it by 1.
Yeah.
Still fucked. Got it. 1. Still
Fucked.
Got it. And you just keep adding 1 until it works. You go, that's the number.
The environment that you're in, I was like, I don't want to do it too quickly and miss something, because if I do that again and I do like, I'm just gonna fucking wank off this fucking
That's what I did repeatedly. I click it too far.
Yeah. And then not so I just took
I guess
really
we start again.
I just took it really careful. But
Wow.
yeah, I loved it.
Lots of different sort of plays of games there, wasn't it? One being self-frustration and hating yourself, one having a lot of fun after hating yourself,
And one being ask Catch'em.
It came out of, because so you take the quests and they don't have the names on them. They're like, one was like, it was like Public Pervert it was called. You go into it and it goes, Cyber has started. Ass Catch'em. I was like, wow, all right then.
There's a similar thing in Like a Dragon where you encounter a professor who is exploring the phenomenon of Sujimon, he calls them.
Oh, right, yes,
And in the room, you have there's like 3 common enemies, but one's dressed all in red, one all in blue, and one all in green. And he's like,
God.
which one do you want to fight?
Yeah, I remember that.
Cool.
It was
I like this. But that's like your glossary of enemy types in the game, is your Suji decks.
Nice.
That one's a lot of fun.
that is good. I do like that. I remember it. So yeah, where do we want to go with play of the games? Anyone backing down from theirs?
I
No.
would be. No.
So you're trying to make me make a decision now, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sticking to mine.
I'm sticking to mine as well, because that was... I don't usually have self-belief in myself like I did with that light switch.
I mean, it's even worse that I would choose Darren's over yours.
Like, if I can argue my own reason for choosing mine, this is a discussion we have a lot in Play of the Game, is that yours is like a distillation of the good things of the game. So there's a point where the game went from great to like more great.
Yeah.
So from like an 8 to a 9. This was the point in the game where my enjoyment of it went from like a 3 to a 10.
Okay,
I was like, what the fuck? This is the best. And then it put me back in the game. Like, I want to shoot my rocket.
I mean, that's the thing. Your play of the game is great, and there's a moment after you're back to where you were before, and just like, God, I wish I was doing that again. Whilst yours is like, I'm still building and still building in this game.
There are more of those
that.
motel bits, and they are really cool.
Yeah.
And that's not me to say that what yours was bad.
Yeah.
I just think because of how Darren has described this
In
game.
fairness, the pure euphoria that comes over your face.
I had so much fun. It's because I thought it was going to be nerfed. I thought it was going to be shit.
They normally
and I flew up into the air, saw like fucking there's tank enemies which have like cans on their back, and I went, I'll try and aim for the cannon. Maybe I'll get like a weak spot. And he just exploded. And I went, yes.
So we're giving the point to Darren.
I'm happy to give it to
Which means
gosh.
Darren wins the episode.
I think I last one in week 3.
Which puts Darren in second place.
Yep.
Cerys, you're in last right now.
I'm fulfilling Paul's prophecy, that's
Yep.
all.
You need to
I'm
then,
fulfilling Paul's prophecy.
You'll come back strong towards the end. So.
R.I.P. and peace, Paul.
Are we again going to make 12 points out of it?
We've got...
We're going to somehow work out a tie.
Well, how many more we got to go?
3 more.
3 more to go. All to play for, guys.
Play for, yeah.
All to play for.
Anyone could win. Josh can't lose.
Yeah. That's
Not
it.
that you're unhappy about that at all. Look at your face. He's got such a shit-eating grin on right now.
Oh, well.
Disgusting.
It's fine. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another episode. Before we go into the sign-off, let's have a little look at what we're going to be doing in 2 episodes' time on our next fight one by pulling from the random genre generator. Darren, would you like to fire it up? Is that the noise it makes as it fires up?
That's the noise I make when I read what it says.
And what will we be buying for each other for the next one?
We got a weird one now.
Okay.
And not to be fair, the past few have been fucking normal.
Yes.
Let's all embrace our spirituality, boys and girls. For our next topic is religion.
Ooh.
I'm ready to get cancelled.
I think
oh my god.
this could be a really good one or a really bad one. Religion, there are a lot of games which have current religions. There are ones with cults. There's all sorts.
Do you wish you still had Talos Principle to buy?
Talos Principle isn't really a religion. It's a theology.
I mean, you spend the entire game talking to God.
Yeah, I know. It would have been good.
It would have been good. I still would have hated it, but...
What I would have really liked to get, which we can't get because it's all Xbox, is like the Fable games. Because those would have been really cool because you almost like become those ones. But...
Yeah.
Or do you just get like a city sim where you are God? There's lots of ways to go for this next episode, isn't there?
Oh, if you guys get me a city sim, I'm not going to be mad at that.
Well, that would be Darren. You need to look out for that then.
I'm not going to.
I'd buy a game that we can't buy because it's not really acquirable on the platforms we have, but...
What is it?
Black and White?
Black and White would be a solid shout.
It's just PC.
Yeah, and Black and White doesn't work anymore on NPCs. Black and White 2 does, though, I think.
But still just PC.
Yeah.
Sims count.
I suppose. You could make God.
Yeah. But who knows? Anyway, thank you all for turning into another episode. Turning into it, not tuning in, turning in. Do make sure to check us out on our other things. We do stream 3 times a week on Twitch. We stream Mondays and Fridays as Legacy games, which at this point... God, I'm trying to work out where we're going to be.
I'm on the last episode. Oh, no.
No, you'll be past. You'll probably be done with Pokemon by then.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm streaming. It's a surprise.
Darren's going to be
Hearts.
one of the Kingdom Hearts games.
I'm not going to commit to which one. Kingdom Hearts.
And we'll see whether Josh is still with Dark Souls or has given up on it. And then on Wednesdays we stream episode games where we stream a Vault game plus the 3 ones we discuss. So if you are listening to this, we will be streaming these 3 games the following few weeks.
Play Judgement.
Which will be a really good time.
Yeah.
Do also check us out on YouTube where we put all our previous streams up on there as well as longer versions of these episodes. These will be filmed going forwards from this episode, not this episode, but after this episode. It will be filmed so you see our lovely faces, which is at Discount Pod also. And then lastly, check us out on our socials, which is Instagram only, really. So check us out at Discount Pod, 2 C's, and there's Discount Darren, Discount Cerys, Discount Josh. And that is everything, I think.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say?
Gotta catch 'em all.
Sujimon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, ass catch him. But yes, thank you for being our player force, and we'll catch you all next time.
Bye.